don't give in. Yeah. Miles and miles you will have been.
Well, hello everybody, it's Suffolk Andy here, standing by the Orwell Bridge on the River Orwell on a grey old day here in Suffolk. Absolutely shite. But there you go, that's been the summer this year. Just absolutely awful, wet and nasty, and you never know what's going to happen. No sunshine hardly at all. But there you go, that's Britain for you. We should be used to it by now. What am I going to do today? I've decided to do something a little bit different, I suppose. I'm going to answer Amy's questions, because I'm always throwing Amy's questions out to you, and we've done 2 sessions so far and it's all gone down very well, but I've never answered those questions. So if I can get them in sequence and I can remember them and everything else, I'll give you my answers to them. So with that, let's get on with the ride and see what I can come up with. Well, I think question number one was, if you could speak to somebody in history, who would that be? Well, there's 2 people really, so I'm going to have to do 2, I'm afraid, and I'll give the reasons. One is Winston Churchill, because my God, what a leader in World War II. Even though he made lots of mistakes in his life, military and other things as well, the man could lead when the chips were down and Britain actually stood alone at the start of the war after France was knocked out. And I'd love to get some of that inspiration off the guy, you know. And another one, which would probably be a bit surprising really, is as you know, I love history, and I study history all the time, and at the moment I'm really knocking big time into the American Civil War. Now I've done all the British history, so I'm now going into the American Civil War, and the one thing that I'd like to know, so the person I'd have to ask is General Lee, and I would love to ask him, what the hell was he thinking of at the Battle of Gettysburg when he done Pickett's charge? I'd love to know why a man who was supposed to be such a good general would make such a whopper of a mistake. So yeah, so that's the first question. Winston Churchill, General Lee. Bike, I think, was the second one. If you could only have one bike, well, it will have to be a dual sport bike, a sports tourer. I've always said, you know, now I've got this Harley fixed, I really like it, but if it was the only bike I had, I don't think it would do it for me. I'd need a bike to give me a bit more oomph and speed, you know. So yeah, it would have to be a dual sport bike, you know, like my ZZR or ZZR 1400 or XJX, whatever they call them. It'd have to be something like that. Right, number 3. Which motorbike racer would you have liked to have met in the past or now, you know? Well, everybody knows we all love Rossi, or most of us love Rossi, so Rossi would have to be one. But there's 2 others really, Barry Sheehan and the lovable rogue, as you could call him, the rake. You know, he used to love his women apparently, but he used to like a good time, so he would be one I'd like to see. And of course, my always going to be my favourite is Simoncelli, and alas, he's gone now. He was killed, you know, in a terrible accident, and Rossi was involved in that, and they were good mates. So Simoncelli as well. So I'm sorry, chaps, I'm going to have to say 3. Simoncelli, Barry Sheehan, and Rossi. Right, what was number 4? I'm starting to forget now. Right, now we go on to number 4. And this one is where if you had one more ride left, and some of you buggers cheated because you said a world tour, yeah, that would be a long old ride. So, if I had to have my last ride and I couldn't ride no more, and I could go to any part in the world, where would it be? Oh my God. Well, I've travelled over the Alps several times on a motorbike, and I've been into Yugoslavia and whatever, and I think, you know, I watch you boys and girls over in America at Monument Valley and New Mexico, and that really fascinates me. I'd love to have a go at that. But I think the best road for a bike in the world is in Europe, actually, and I think it's the coast road that runs down on the coast with the old Yugoslavia. I think it's Croatia now, and Herzegovina and all this sort of stuff. But that road that runs all the way down the coastline, down to Albania, is probably the best road I've ever rid a bike on, and up into the mountains or Skopje and places like that. I think that's where I'd love to do that again, if that was going to be my last ride, you know. And it would be a long ride because it's nearly 700 miles, so there you go. The last one was the worst jobs you've ever had. Well, I've had 2, and they're always, well, I've had 3, I've had loads, because I've had loads of jobs. I've done so much in my life, all different jobs, you know. I've been a plasterer, I've been a glamour photographer, I've worked in a cigarette factory, or I've worked at a plumber's place, I was an apprentice for a heating engineer, I worked as a drayman. So there's so many jobs I've done in the past. I've had loads. At one time I just couldn't keep a job. I used to get fed up and move on. That's when I was younger. But actually the worst jobs I worked for a heating engineering firm, which are gone now, and the guy who was in charge of me was, how can I put it, a sadistic, narcissistic fucking bastard. And I started there as a young lad, about, I don't know, 16, and he made my life a misery. And quite honestly, I just wanted him to die. And yeah, that's all I can say about it. I'm not going to say too much. He made my life a misery, and I just had to leave. But you know, fortunately, in them times, jobs were easy to come by. You could just walk out of one job, get another one the next. That's why I had so many. Yeah, the guy was just so horrible and disgusting that I just walked out, and I was only there about 6 months, 5-6 months, and I had enough of him. He was so nasty. I don't know how he got to where he was in that company, but there you go. That's life. So that was the worst job, working for a heating engineering firm with a nasty bloody foreman. So, so I think that's all the questions. I'm going to have to head back because it's going to rain. I'm off to France next week, next Friday. Yes, I'm off to Normandy. The last night on a bike, but in a car, because I'm going with some friends. A friend of mine owns a big old house in France, and we're all going out there and spending a week in Normandy. Hopefully going up to the Normandy beaches to see the D-Day stuff. I'll take a camera with me. Anything that I see that I think is good, I'll record it and put it up, especially if we go to the D-Day beaches. It's unbelievable. I've been there a couple of times and it's just unbelievable. And then you won't see nothing from me from nearly a fortnight, but I will be back, as they say. I will be back, as they say. Let's get around here and I can get off this road. So that's about it from me. Suffolk Andy's going to France. Look at this, eh? Even on a grotty day like today. Yeah, Suffolk Andy's going to France next week, or next Friday. And have a good old holiday, plenty of wine, plenty of beer, plenty of food. See some of the countryside. Can't wait. So with that, With that, boys and girls, all ride safe, love each other. Suffolk Andy!